I'm Japanese and this needs to stop. Hey everybody, Mr. E here. I'm furious about the situations in Japan lately, caused by some foreigners. This time, a freaking 65 years old American guy was messing around at the Japanese shrine. Like we covered in the last video, we've seen yet another incident of foreigners behaving disrespectfully in Japan. From influencers dancing in sacred spaces to the Chilean girl climbing a shrine gate for clout. And now this, an American man, Steve Lee Haynes, who carved his family name into a torii gate at Tokyo's Mage Shrine. For those who don't know real quick, Mage Shrine is one of the most iconic and sacred places in Tokyo. I could go on about it, but to keep it simple, it's a really important place for us Japanese. This isn't just embarrassing, it's a huge disrespect to the Japanese culture and heritage. I'm so tired of seeing this kind of thing happen. So in this video, I want to talk about how I see the bigger picture, especially as a Japanese guy living abroad. Before I go any farther, I just want to say, I didn't expect so many people from abroad to turn up on my last video. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with my content. It really means a lot to me. I mostly make videos for Japanese audiences, but seeing all your comments and feedbacks have been really eye-opening. I'm planning to make more videos in English, so if you're new here, stick around. There is a lot to talk about and I would love to keep this conversation going. Now, as we dive deeper into this incident, I quickly want to touch on some of the comments I got on the last video. A lot of you messaged me saying things like, I'm scared Japanese people are gonna hate me when I go there because of these idiots making us all look bad. And honestly, I get it. It's frustrating to see your nationality or group judged because of somebody else's actions. But here's the thing. As long as you're trying your best to show respect and good intentions, you'll be just fine. We do care about the effort. Even if you mess up, as long as you're showing that you're trying, we're not going to hate on you. It's the attitude and intention that matters the most. Alright, let's talk about what happened at the Mage Shrine. Steve Lee Haynes, this guy isn't some young influencer chasing likes. He's a 65 years old man. For a lot of Japanese people, seeing somebody of that age do something so thoughtless is simply shocking. This man carved letters, believed to be his family name, into a torii gate at Mage Shrine and was arrested on suspicion of property damage. Damaging one of the gates isn't just vandalism. It's a direct insult to the culture and the spirituality of Japan. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated case. Just last month, there was an American teenager caught lighting trash on fire. These incidents only add to the negative perceptions some people have of foreigners in Japan. In my last video, I saw comments like, these obnoxious tourists don't represent all of us. And that's absolutely true. But here's the thing, especially in Japan where people are not too used to being around foreigners, incidents like these leave a strong impression. Think about it this way, if I were to visit a remote African village where people had rarely seen a Japanese person, how I act would probably shape a lot of their opinions about foreigners, right? Or Asians as a whole. I know it's not a perfect comparison, but the point is, first impressions matter. So of course, while these troublemakers are a minority, their actions have a disproportionate impact on how we perceive foreigners. And that is exactly why it's important to act respectfully when you're visiting another country. I also want to address something that's been on my mind, and on the minds of many Japanese people. It seems like when Americans act out in Japan, like Steve Haynes or the teenager with the fire incident, the consequences are immediate. But with cases involving some Chinese tourists, like the man who did it on Yasukuni Shrine, or those harassing deers in Nara, the response seems slower or even less visible. A lot of people here are feeling suspicious about this, and I get it. It's starting to feel like there's a double standards at play. That said, this is a big topic, and I believe it deserves its own discussion. So I'll save it for another video. For now, I want to keep the focus on the bigger picture, the importance of respecting the place we visit, no matter where we are from. Now, as somebody living abroad myself, I want to share a bit of my perspective. I've been in Europe for a while now, and every single day, I remind myself that my actions reflect on Japan. If I act out, people might think that's just how Japanese people are. So I try my best to represent my country well, not just for myself, but for Japan. And look, I'm not perfect, but as long as I show that I'm making an effort to respect the culture and the people around me, most folks are understanding. If you're a foreigner in Japan, the same thing applies. Nobody expects you to know every custom or tradition, but if you show that you care and that you're trying, it makes all the differences. So here's the bottom line. If you're planning to visit Japan, or any country, really, your actions matter. You're not just representing yourself, you're representing where you come from. And yeah, there are troublemakers everywhere, including Japan. But let's be real, Japanese people acting out in Japan and foreigners acting out in Japan are two completely different stories. When you're a guest, the expectations are higher, and that's just a reality. And frankly speaking, I don't think this is something unique to Japan. It applies everywhere, especially when you consider the first impression situation that I mentioned earlier. Let's all do better, show respect, learn about the culture, and remember, it's not just about following the rules. It's about showing that you value the people and the places that are hosting you. Thanks for watching, and I hope this encourages all of us to think a little bit more carefully about how we behave when we are abroad. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.